Hey guys, this is going to be more of a Sam update than a NaNoWriMo update. I'm running on 36 hours, I think, of not sleeping. This isn't because I was writing, though. I wish that it were, but it wasn't. My mother actually went to the hospital at about 2 o'clock in the morning and was in surgery by 8 o'clock in the morning. So, I haven't slept. She's fine, by the way. It was some sort of stomach thing, and it's all taken care of now, and she was awake when I saw her last, and she's just gonna have to be in the hospital for a few days, which sucks, because Thanksgiving's on Thursday, so real bummer for anybody to have to be in the hospital during the holidays, so. That said, obviously, do I look like I'm in the mood to write anything? So writing has been kind of a problem. I've actually done pretty good, all things considered. I think yesterday I did about 5,500 words or something like that. Today I've already done 4,500 words, so it's a far cry from the finishing that I wanted to do today. I really wanted to write the end of my novel today. It's not gonna happen. I'm almost like dead. I can't, like, even coffee, it's just barely keeping me from passing out is all. It's not waking me up, it's just keeping me from dying. It's pretty horrible. So, yeah, basically, I went to the library today and I hung out with one of the Rhymos from the TC region. And her and I were writing, and that was where I made most of my 4,500 words today. And, I don't know, eventually we just decided to wander on home. I'm having trouble just staying awake. I feel really out of it. It's almost like I'm on autopilot. I imagine a lot of writers feel like this right now, but not for the same reasons. It's just sort of a reminder that life happens and move on. Whatever. Alright, 2.5 minutes of me complaining about being tired, and I'm going to do the second half of my video about something kind of cool. So, now that my book is almost finished, because I literally only have 2 chapters to go, and then I'm done. After that, I'm going to edit myself. I edit probably at least 3 times all the way through to make sure that it has everything that it needs. I just keep reading and rereading and rereading and rereading and polishing where I can until I'm done. I'm actually a pretty good self-editor. I'm very good at detaching myself from my own brain and removing most of the bias and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty good for my own editor. Of course, if this is going to reach actual print, I'm going to need other writers, editors. So first, I'm probably gonna send it through like several levels of friends. I just want to read your story friends that are basically gonna tell me if the story makes sense, if it's interesting, if it's confusing, that kind of thing. Then I'm going to send it through like an intermediate writer friend who has understanding of grammar and words and stuff, and can help me polish it and just basically say, like, I think you need more substance here, I think you need to delete things here, more of a general sense that I can flourish it through. And then I have Stella and Robin, who have promised to tear me apart in a good way, in a really good way, which I really appreciate, actually. Robin has warned me that I need to check my ego at the door, because she's actually lost friends over her editing, because she's not going to sugarcoat it, and she's just going to be real straightforward and point out everything that needs to be changed. And by the time I get it to Robin, I think that'll be exactly what I want. I did tell her that I will probably take it pretty hard. I do that. It's hard. When you write, it's very personal, and you don't really like to share it with people in the first place, and then when somebody tells you that you did this wrong, you need to rewrite this whole section, whatever, it'll hit you pretty hard. It's happened to me before. I know from experience that basically what I do is I look at it and I sulk, and then I disappear for 3 or 4 days and don't talk to anybody, and I especially don't reply to the review, because replying to the review when you're in a negative mood is never a good idea. I walk away and I stew about it, but I come back. It's fine. I get over my criticisms, because the truth is, a lot of times the criticisms have at least a grain of truth in them, and I do listen. It's still just not easy to take the criticism sometimes. So I do appreciate that Robin is going to do that for me. And Stella has the added bonus of being a writer herself, and she has published, she has tried to publish her manuscript several times. So she's gone through the process of submitting to publishers and trying to find an agent and so on and so forth. So I have a very good team behind me, I think. Also, Brad has a writer friend, I guess. Oh, look, I'm being called. I'm going to answer that later. Don't worry. Brad, my husband, has a writer friend that he has recommended that I talk to, who's got like 30 years of experience in the business, so I will probably try to break into some sort of candid conversation with him. And last but not least, I have my eye on who I want to be my agent. This is kind of fun. So because I'm near the end of my story, I got really excited about publishing, which was hilarious because I'm within 2 chapters of finishing my story. And instead of finishing the damn story, I was like 10 steps ahead of myself and digging around for agents. Because it gets kind of exciting. I've never been to this point where I can even consider thinking about an agent, let alone even approaching one, let alone even having one. And so the idea just got to be very romantic in my brain, and I started searching around, and I found the one that I want, I think. I'm not going to say anything, mostly because if I end up with a different agent, they're going to find my blog later and be like, well, I wasn't your first choice, and I don't want them to know that. Furthermore, I think it's a little bit creepy. So if I end up with this person as my agent later and they find out that I've been stalking them for months, they will, I don't know, they might be turned off. But the person seems really, really cool. They do all of the genres that I write in. The books that they publish seem pretty cool. I'm actually going to go pick one up and read it so that I can do my research. When I do finally contact the agent, I want to know them, and I want to be able to tell them that, hey, I've been eyeing you since the beginning, and I really would like to have this wonderful writer-agent relationship where we are buds. I can't wait. The idea of having, like, this kick-ass, like, duo partnership with an agent who has faith in me just seems really awesome. And helping each other out. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But the idea seemed really cool. And so now I'm fantasizing about my agent in my head. And what it would be like to have an agent. Like, guys, I gotta go. My agent is calling. It's a very intriguing notion. I've never gotten this far. So I'm very excited. That said, obviously, if you haven't figured it out, I'm probably going to try to do the traditional publishing first. Self-publishing is always going to be a very strong fallback plan. If I try to traditionally publish the thing for like 2 years and no one ever picks up on it, then I'll probably just be like, fuck it, throw it on the internet on an ebook. In the meantime, all of the other authors say, just keep writing. Rejection is part of the process. You might not hear from them for months. Just don't write one story and stop and wait for it to be successful. Just keep writing. And I do that anyway, so I'm not worried. This isn't really like, I wasn't going to be like quit all my jobs and just write for the rest of my life. It's just a hobby. But it's a hobby that I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can cash in a little bit on now and have a really sweet cover art. And hear people on the street talk about my characters. And maybe someday read fan fiction of my own stories. Wouldn't that be sweet? Anyway, I'm exhausted. I'm going to eat dinner and pass out. And dream about a land of agents. Or just one in particular. It's gonna be sweet. Alright. See you guys later. Sorry, I'm so tired. It is what it is.